All right, so we have something else to talk about that's not nearly as fun. There's a lot of people that are very upset about this particular subject. So Pixelborn is getting shut down in approximately 18 days, I would say, from this stream.
Sure.
Um, this came. When was this announced? This was
Yesterday.
the 29th. So yeah, so yesterday, so Wednesday morning or Wednesday afternoon, I should say, for us at least. Uh, I don't know, Scott. It's one of those where this kind of came out of left field. You know. Um, so just to quote Pavel here a little bit here. Breaks my heart to say this. Pixelborn is shutting down. Full announcement in the Discord, and then our full announcement here for anyone that maybe has missed it. Earlier this month, Disney representatives contacted me, and I was advised that the Disney has intellectual property rights in Disney Lorcana cards, and that Disney has requested Pixelborn to respect these rights by not copying cards or in any way suggesting an affiliation with Disney. I'll leave the rest of that on screen for a moment here, but it's really that top line that is hyper specific, Scott. There's been a lot of discussion about who's to blame and things like that, but realistically, like that quote right there is it's really all you need to hear, right?
Yeah, it's the affiliation with Disney and things like that are the problem. So right now we're currently streaming on the Disney Orcana Twitch category, and there have been people that were streaming Pixelborn on the same category, which is not Disney Orcana. So I would say that whatever was happening since Pixelborn went live and the minor scrutiny that it was under in the beginning because it was difficult to get cards and things like that has been exasperated by people that were just pushing the envelope as time went on and not creating a separation of duties between Pixelborn and Disney Lorcana. And ultimately, in my opinion, that's what led to this. It is not simply Disney trying to protect its IP. It is not simply Disney trying to enforce Big Brother on anybody. It's because of that, like, wall becoming like a wall of sand between Disney Lorcana and Pixelborn. And that's, in my opinion, why this happened. When it was just a testing platform to play with new cards and it had like a simple ladder, no one cared. Even when they added best of three, no one cared. It was when, again, you stream on the category. Now, I assume behind the scenes, a lot of people were told not to do that. I have screenshots that prove otherwise. But then, when you have $10,000 tournaments on a unlicensed platform, and you're taking attendance away from live events where actual gameplay is being held, which we know for a fact was a reason. We talked to people as to why they didn't show up to certain large events that were happening over the weekend. They said, why should I leave my house when I can play for $10,000 on Pixelborn? I don't know what people expected was going to happen. Again, we knew from day one that this was always under scrutiny, but there was always reasons not to go after it from a Ravensburger and Disney perspective. But when you constantly are pushing the envelope and that barrier between real play and Pixelborn play is getting blurred too much, and it's not just a testing platform anymore, it's literally becoming its own game, I think they push the envelope a little too much.
I have a lot of feelings about this one because in the end, there was definitely a point in time where players couldn't get cards, right? Like
Sure.
it's just a fact. So during that time, there was a ton of potential Lorcana growth due to Pixelborn. Like the amount of effort and work put into this by Pavel was like immeasurable by comparison.
Mm-hmm.
So I totally understand the feelings and sadness from so many in the community because it's tough, right? Like it really is difficult for them. um, because they're losing their hobby, right? Like, and I say that like with a grain of salt because obviously the hobby is supposed to be Disney Lorcana,
Right.
but the hobby was Pixelborn, right? Like it
Mhm.
was, I'm gonna work my 9 to 5, I'm gonna eat dinner, I'm gonna go home, and I'm gonna play a couple hours on Pixelborn because it
Sure.
was convenient, right? Like it was easy, it was part of life. You know, others were playing during their work day, you know, like, oh, I got some time, I'll just play some Pixelborn while I'm working, you know. So there's a lot of life changing things here, and there will be, without a doubt, a lot less like games being played, for sure. Like there's no doubt about that. You know, we've seen the reports every week, you know, and 6,000 games played, 8,000 games played, 10,000
Yeah.
games played. Like those were weekly games. That's not going to happen anymore.
Mhm.
There is definitely a subset of players that only played on Pixelborn. I'd argue that those are part of the problem because at the end of
Sure.
the day, that shouldn't be the goal. The goal for me, when I thought of Pixelborn, I had always said it was the ultimate tool for competitive players.
Mhm.
If it only remained that, we would not be having the conversation we are right now. If it
Exactly.
was just a place to go to utilize the platform to play games against other players, or even if it's just the latter, then honestly, I don't think Pixelborn ever gets removed ever. I
I
think
agree.
it stays and it is perfectly fine for all of eternity. The moment you put a limelight on it and you show it to the world and you start having people that don't understand what X is and what Y is, you create a position where you actually harm the platform and you ruin it for everyone.
Mhm.
That's my humble opinion because until a lot of things has happened, but like the Disney Lorcana category
Mhm.
was not on Twitch until about a month ago. Maybe even short. It might even only be like 3 weeks ago. I think it was probably the beginning of May where it had first popped up, and we're like, oh, I remember sitting. I think it was at the encounter because like someone had asked me like, hey, why are you streaming our live stream
Right.
to Pixelborn? And I was like, oh, because there isn't a Disney Lorcana category,
Mhm.
so that's kind of where we're at. But the problem with it is that now that you have a Disney Lorcana category, that got approved, right? Like Disney, the mouse owns all of it. Like it owns all of it. So Disney had to approve of this thing so it could exist. So if Disney has to approve it, and then all of a sudden people start streaming with hundreds of viewers on Pixelborn, on Disney Lorcana, on the category, it puts eyeballs onto it that put off alarms.
Mhm.
It's things like that that people aren't thinking about. If Pixelborn was the category and that's where you're playing, nobody with a Disney mindset is looking for that. They don't know what to look for. But when you show them it, when you literally give them the information and you put this giant spotlight on it, I think it was a lot more harm than good.
I agree.
Um, and that sucks. There's a lot of people that love committing their free time to it. It does suck. It's a killed hobby, which is awful. You know, like I have gone through the concept of, you know, we've lost games that we have played. It's kind of similar in a way that this is what people would do 4 or 5 nights a week. There are content creators that were betting on Pixelborn to be a living for them. You know, there's guys that are streaming 5, 6, 7 days a week playing Pixelborn,
Mhm.
and that's gone. You know, like, and these are people that are like the most active Twitch streamers in our space that can't do that anymore. And that all sucks. You know, it does. Um, but in the end, what I had told our community is exactly how I feel. Um, we made we made the YouTube channel on April 20th, 2023, and we bet on Disney Lorcana. We
Mhm.
bet on the rule book. We bet on Ravensburger. We were confident in the game well before Pixelborn existed. So when I didn't come into the game because I could play Pixelborn. Like, no, like Pixelborn came into the game.
Right.
So for me, yeah, it sucks to lose that tool, but now it's just that much more reason to go to your store, play in league nights, play. Even if your store doesn't have a community yet, this is all the more reason to get on the horse and start convincing them, hey, we need this. Hey, set championships are a great thing for any store to get into. Hey, the Lorcana Challenge is giving out tens of thousands of dollars. Like, let's get people into the game. Let's get people playing the game. It's all of that and more now to start building towards a community how Ravensburger wanted it to be. Like, that's how it was intended to be. It was intended to be played in stores. It was intended to be played on your kitchen table. Pixelborn was never meant to exist. It just wasn't. Like it was never part of the plan. So now more than ever, I'm hearing these deaths of the game. It's ridiculous, guys. There was 3,000 people in Atlanta last weekend.
At least.
Chicago is sold out. Fort Worth is sold out. Lille had 2,000 players in it. Like, the game is far from dead. I'm sorry. Like that whole claim is literally ridiculous. Like, absolutely ridiculous claims. And like, you're all crazy for anyone that thinks that. You're actually insane. The game is just we're 10 months in. We just had our first official organized play. Set champs are coming back again. All the more reason, guys. Guess what? Those stitches are still selling for $600 a pop. Like, go play in set championships. Go support the stores. I'm all about supporting. I've always been about that layer. I'm the kind of guy. I didn't play in a 5K online for SCG Richmond. I went to SCG Richmond and played a 5K. I drove 5 hours to play in a 5K because I want to support the game. Because at the end of the day, we need the paper to survive. Like, we need it. We need to support stores. We need to support tournament organizers. That's how the game lives. It's the only way the game lives. So it sucks to lose it. The tool was incredible. The leaderboard was phenomenal for the players that really committed to it. In the end, all of the extra things that came on top, in my humble opinion, are the reason why it will no longer exist in 2 weeks.
I agree.
And it sucks. It does. It really does suck for the people that love it, that have the support for it, that have the hobby of it. Like, it sucks. It's not something that should happen. It really does. But it's I don't know. We live, we move on. And in all honesty, like, if you ask me, 6 months from now, there'll be players getting in the game and they'll never know it existed.
Mm-hmm.
It'll be a fond memory for all of us that had it when we did. But it's almost like the best of three. Best of three is a fond memory.
Exactly. Fire up TTS.
Yeah, man. TTS is that's a platform. I've heard a couple different things. Spell table, Untapped. There's other ways to do it.
I didn't know these things still exist.
Yeah, man. There will be other people that create mods that make online playability a thing still. Like, it'll still exist. It just will not have the user functionality of Pixelborn. But that's also, again, because it shouldn't exist, I don't know. It sucks. Like I said, there's a ton of people out there that were incredibly committed to Pixelborn. And for them to lose it sucks. Like, it does. It's I had read several of the streamers post about it, and they don't know what they're going to do now. Like, what are they going to stream? They can't stream Lorcana, not as easy as they were before, right? But I don't know. We're looking into buying cameras, so there's that.
Yeah.
All the more reason for stores to double down. Honestly, if you're a store owner, I loved it in our local Discord, or sorry, in our local team. We're not doing that. In our local Facebook group, I had seen, like, hey, Pixelborn's gone, and now we're gonna have local game stores, league nights. Here it is. Like, come and play league nights. It's like, yeah, I hope every store thinks to just re-promote what they're trying to do. Like I had spoken to several different stores in the area and saying they can't give their league nights to fire. Well, hopefully they can now. Like there's more reason to go out and support your local game store.
I mean,
I
it's not
mean,
like we go to it's not like we go to league nights and we still stay involved with Lorcana without playing
I was
Pixelborn 90
I
million
was
hours.
going. I mean, I was going Tuesday league nights when I could.
Yeah.
So I mean, I was most weeks if I wasn't a busy week, I'd go and play at least Lorcana one night a week.
Mhm.
So I mean, I'm busy, right? But like
Mhm.
I also wasn't spending that night playing Pixelborn either. So
Mhm. Mhm.
like
Exactly.
if I can play Lorcana, I was going to a store. What I'll never forget, um, and this is just the truth. A couple months ago for an encounter, they had an enchanted tournament, and I had a really rough week of work. I was really tired. And Kylie's like, "Oh, well, we don't have to go to the enchanted tournament. Like, we'll just stay in and play Pixelborn." And I was like, "No, like, fuck that. We're going to the card tournament. Like, I'm gonna go support the encounter because I need the encounter to exist in 6 months, 8 months, a year. Like, I need that store to really still support the game. Like, I'm gonna go to that store every single opportunity I can because I want them to continue to support Lorcana."
Right.
So I just hope more pick up that mindset. I really do. I hope more people just try and find a way to play the game in person. I mean, hell, if you got to set up a local league night, go to your local Starbucks. Ask them if you can just hang out for games or something. Like whatever you got to do, just to try is where I'm at.